What's going on, survivors? In this video, I'm going to be explaining to you what adrenal cancer is and how it affects the body. So get yourself comfortable, grab yourself a drink. I've got my hot chocolate here because it's going to be an informative one. So, as you already know, my content is created from personal experience. So everything that I share is from everything or things that I've been through and from everything or things that I have learnt myself. So let's jump in.
Helping people find strength, hope, and purpose during and after life's hardest battles.
Firstly, what is adrenal cancer? Well, before recording this video, I took the liberty of doing some research. Not only because I've been through it, so I know a fair bit, but I wanted to make sure I was coming to this video with clarity and with understanding. So, let's answer the question. What is adrenal cancer? Now, I'm looking at my notes. I've got written down here the Google definition, which I'm going to read to you first and foremost, and then we're going to get into the symptoms, diagnosis, my experience, and what to expect and how you can navigate your own way through it. So, adrenal cancer is a rare cancer starting in the adrenal glands, which is situated at the top of the kidneys. There are two types of adrenal cancer. This I didn't know, which is why I'm glad I've done the research. So, first of all, adrenocortical carcinoma, abbreviated to ACC. This starts in the outer layer of the adrenal gland, which is called the cortex, and this type is very rare. Now, the one thing is, I was fortunate or unfortunate, whichever way you look at it, to have had this type. So I've had my fair share of experience with it. The second type is pheochromocytoma. This starts in the inner part of the adrenal gland, called the medulla, and is usually benign, but can cause severe symptoms. Now, I know from first-hand experience that both types of this cancer have severe symptoms, which I'll get further into. So, symptoms include the tumour growth, which brings along abdominal pain, back pain, nausea, vomiting, unexplained weight changes, so that could be weight gain or weight loss. Weight loss changes and fatigue. Then you have the hormonal excess, hormonal changes, which usually result in excess of something of some sort. For me, it was excess of calcium, excess of adrenaline, and I wasn't producing any cortisol. So these symptoms include high blood pressure, rapid heart rate, which is something that I was suffering with anyway, headaches, heavy sweating, muscle weakness, weight gain or loss again, mood changes, and for women, they can grow facial hair. So a lot of these symptoms, like I say, I suffered or felt myself It started with the back pain. Nausea turned to vomiting, to a point where I couldn't hold anything down. Couldn't eat. Water from as soon as I got up to going to sleep. I was being sick. I couldn't hold down water, you know. Rapid heart rate. I suffer with irregular heart rate anyway, and my heartbeat tends to be a bit faster than the normal person's resting heart rate. So that maybe affected me, but I didn't feel that effect as much as some of the others, such as sweating. I was sweating a lot. Muscle weakness, definitely a lot of weakness in my muscles. I remember the last time I worked before being diagnosed, trying to pick up a wheel for a car. And tell a lie, I had the car on a ramp and I undone the bolts, took the wheel off, and I literally had to hold it with both my hands, and my knee, my leg, I had to rest it on my leg with the hands because I just couldn't handle the weight of it, and it wasn't necessarily a extremely big wheel, say like off a Jeep or something. It was just a BMW 5 Series wheel, standard wheel. So yeah, massive effects on the body. So just a side note, some kind of statistical information which I found along the way, and I made notes with that as well. So adrenal cancer is considered extremely rare. In medical terms, adrenal cancer, specifically adrenal carcinoma, which is what I had myself, affects roughly 1 to 2 people per million. Just absorb that for a second, because I'm not talking thousands or hundreds or thousands of people. So 1 to 2 people per million. I'll give you another second, because my consultant really wasn't lying when she said to me that I was 1 in a million. You know, I thought it was light-hearted, a bit of a joke, but scientifically it's proven, you know, and it's there in the research. So just to try and put that into a bit more perspective, many hospitals, even some oncologists, may, not will, may only see a handful of this type of cancer in their career, in their whole career, you know. This rarity can and will make the whole experience extremely difficult. There's no hiding that fact. Reason being, probably the main reason is them trying to find it. I remember myself being in and out of hospital, literally being on a drip, but calcium levels being through the roof and that sort of thing, you know, the running tests. Got my levels back down to normal, let me back out. 2 weeks later, back in, same problem. You know, that escalated from 2 weeks to 1 week, and then from 1 week to literally within 4 days, I'm at hospital, back in 4 days later, in hospital for near enough a week, best part of a week, back out, 4 days later, back in. So it took its toll, you know. It was a crazy experience, but it was extremely difficult, as what I was trying to say. So because adrenal cancer is so rare, diagnosis is often delayed or unexpected. I think all in all it took about 3.5 months to be diagnosed properly. I remember speaking to the doctor on one morning when I was doing the rounds, asking, just be straight with me, like what's going on with my body, I don't understand. And she said to me basically they'd run so many tests and they was waiting for the results of 11 and 12. So, you know, they was doing the best and they did work well. So diagnosis is often delayed or unexpected. Information can be limited or overwhelming. Limited because there's not a lot of it out there, and not a lot of cases, not a lot of experience, as much as we would like, where there is with other diseases, you know, other illnesses. But with that, the information that you do receive can be very overwhelming because there's a lot to take in, there's a lot of changes, you know, to your body, to your mental health, to how you feel about yourself, about life, how you look at things. So overwhelming, definitely. Treatment paths may feel unclear because a lot of treatment is still fairly newly available, and different patients, different people will benefit from different styles of treatment. For myself, I was on, my chemotherapy was tablet form and it was called mitotane, or also known as Lysidron. So alongside that I had to take a steroid called hydrocortisone, which balanced out my cortisol levels basically because I wasn't producing them from being on current chemotherapy and having the one gland taken out. So yeah, different treatments for different people. Some people will receive radiotherapy with other forms of medication. You know, that was just my form. And for most, if not all, it can feel incredibly lonely. Many people diagnosed with adrenal cancer say a similar or the same thing as, I couldn't find anyone who understood what I was going through. And I think that rarity and the, I want to say proof, but not proof, but you know, the information that's there, it justifies how feeling isolated or feeling alone in it can definitely set in or creep in, you know. There's just one to look ahead to, look forward to, you know what I mean? Not so much look forward to, but understand it's coming towards you, you know. So with that sense of isolation, it's not imagined, it's how you're feeling, you know, how you may feel alone. It's not imagined. It's a direct result of an uncommon illness or disease, and that's the basic principle of it. I know of one charity that's directly associated with adrenal cancer, but the difficulty I've had with that is basically the conferences and meetings, or however you want to put it. They're generally held in London. I don't know of anywhere else where it's been held in. So while I was on treatment, it was extremely difficult for me to get down there. I think I've missed one since coming off treatment, but again, coming off treatment, I was still recovering. You know, my body was coming around to coming off treatment, so still medical reasons as to why I couldn't make it. But yeah, it's the only one I know of. There are other charities, but that deal with an umbrella basically of charities, and what you find is people come across people that have had the same type of cancer, you know. Adrenal cancer is massively unheard of. So with this rarity, there is an added emotional layer which further leads to the feeling of isolation. Reasons for this are there is no public conversation or awareness. There is no clear survivor roadmap, again with the treatments and medication, and limited accessible peer support. And again with that, like I said, there's only one charity that I know of that deals with it. So it can be a difficult road, especially with limited support around you. So yeah, you will feel, and I guarantee this, hands down, 100%, you will feel like you're explaining yourself over and over and over again. Be it to those who care about you, those close to you, or even in my case, on 2 occasions, to consultants, to people who are medically trained and are supposed to know ahead of time, not ahead of time, but I know ahead of you, you know what I mean? If you know what I'm trying to get at. But when the cancer affects hormone production, the emotional impact can be even more confusing. So you don't even realise what's going on in your body. You know something's wrong. You might get weird feeling, like I say, pain, feeling sick, any one of the symptoms, but you can't explain it. You can't understand it. You're trying to get your head around it yourself. 1 minute you're okay, 1 minute this weird feelings upon you, and it doesn't seem to want to go away. You try and push through, you battle on, but you confuse yourself. So trying to get other people to understand you is again another difficult task. Mood changes, anxiety, exhaustion, and feeling out of sync with yourself are not just emotional reactions. They're biological responses too. Your body is trying to tell you that something's going on. You're not sure what or why it is. You just notice that there's things changing. You can't explain it, and emotionally, it can get you down. You can feel depressed. You can feel low. And you battle on to try and be happy and be normal, if you know what I mean, as normal as you can. But sometimes it just gets the better of you. So that's just a few things that many patients aren't told and don't understand until they're in the middle of the battle. So hopefully you've got some understanding, at least ahead of some time, for yourself, so you've got some awareness. Many people around you may not understand you, may not understand why you feel off, even when you're trying your best. And if that's you, you're not weak, your body is trying to navigate through something that it doesn't know what's going on, but it's incredibly complex. Imagine trying to fight something that's almost alien to you. It's quite unimaginable when you think about the body in as cells, and like fighting, even just like colds and things like that. When you dive deep into it, it's quite fascinating. So yeah, incredibly complex is an understatement. So my experience, I want to just touch on a few points where hopefully it can help, somebody else have some understanding or some clarity as for what they may be up against or face in the future. So for me, adrenal cancer changed everything, my whole outlook on life. Not just physically, because like I said before in a previous video, I was a mechanic for between 15 to 20 years before being diagnosed. So, and the thought of me getting under a car now, it just, it doesn't sit with me at all. Obviously the surgery to take the tumour out was cut down my chest to my belly button, across my belly to just above my waist, I suppose. So they've cut through a lot or all of my core, my whole abdominal muscles, you know. So that movement, that up and down, and you know, it's come limited. Driving around bends, you know, certain corners, it feels quite sharp, and it's like there's two pieces of muscle, two pieces of tissue pulling at in two opposite directions. So that's just a physical aspect, one physical aspect after surgery. So I had to find a different route, I had to find a different viewpoint, a different perspective, and create a different certainty, a new certainty for myself, you know. There were many moments of fear, many moments of uncertainty, and many moments where I questioned my own strength. Mentally, am I strong enough to do this? Physically, I've lost a lot of strength, but if I work at certain things now, let's say, for an example, my scar causes me pain, yeah? So what I tend to do now, or what I started doing from a good 6 or 7 months ago, was just stretching in the morning, you know, stretching out that one side, and with that came just daily stretching, you know, for my whole body, which turned into daily exercise and so on and so forth. But although there are changes, there are positive things that you can do to help yourself. And this helps you find that inner strength that's already sitting inside you. You know what I mean? It's there, it's just digging deep, finding it and pulling yourself through it, making that progress. So survival taught me something powerful. You don't need to feel brave to keep moving. When life gives you the toughest battles, it's stick or twist basically. I almost swore, but I quickly found a better saying. But yeah, you find that inner strength. You lose pride, you know, you lose that sense of certain, let's say, embarrassments, you know, that sense of pride, that sense of feeling like you've got to, you know, turn up, look your best. I don't know what the right description is, but you know what I'm trying to say. Bright-eyed, bushy-tailed and all that sort of thing. So it's not about being brave, it's just about making that progress for yourself, just that little bit, day by day. Show up, you know, take each day as it comes, take each moment as it comes, moment by moment, day by day. Keep making your progress, keep getting better, and keep making steps forward for your life, you know. Post-treatment, recovery doesn't just end when treatment ends. It's a hard pill to swallow, but it's the truth. Fact of the matter is, Your body goes through a traumatic experience. First of all, being diagnosed. It's one of the scariest things you can go through, and from going through that scary experience there, you have a different perspective, a different, completely different outlook on fear. It changes the whole meaning of fear. But your body's been through a traumatic experience. Prior to treatment with diagnosis, that's mentally. During treatment, that's physically and mentally, because it takes a lot out of you. And then after treatment, your body has to readjust. Your body has to learn how to work for itself again. So post-treatment, you will feel exhaustion, tiredness, time, forget it. Time, I promise you, concept of time will just go out the window. You'll know night, you'll know day. You may just know one day to the next day, one day to the next day. And that's only for a period of time, it doesn't last forever. But forget the concept of time. Set your alarms for your medication, obviously. Take your medication, but yeah. The fear of reoccurrence. For a good year, maybe 2 years, that fear is just going to be running around circles in your head. It's something you can't really escape from, but you will get past it. Something will just twig, something will click, and you'll say to yourself, I'm good, I'm healthy, making the steps to make improvements, to improve my daily habits, my daily lifestyle, you know. So that fear of reoccurrence will be there. It will take over for a while, but it will go away. Hormonal adjustments, again, post-treatment, body's going through changes. So physically, mentally and hormonal, changes all over the place. Refinding yourself, you know, becoming a new person. It's all going on. It's all going on, I promise you. Again, fatigue, exhaustion, it lingers. It doesn't just come and go, make you feel tired for a day or so, or, you know. No, mate. It lingers. You want to sleep, you know, you have appointments, you set your alarm, you set your clothes aside, all that sort of thing. You forget about it. Never mind the time passes you by sleeping. You forget your mind, unless you've got constant reminder, or somebody to remind you. You just forget. And I love it down into fatigue. And emotional processing. It's a lot to take in. It's a lot to understand. It's a lot to process. So emotionally, it can take its toll. There'll be days where you want to cry. There'll be days where you want to shout. There'll be days you want to scream. There'll be days you want to smash up. You know. There'll be days where you want to do nothing. You just want to sit there, enjoy the silence, enjoy the peace. I don't know, however you may look at it, you know. But what I want you to know is, it's all normal. It's all normal, and it's all personal to you. It's all personal to you, nobody else. It's your journey, it's your survival. So take it in your stride and keep persevering. You will get through it. Now, this is why mindset matters so much to me. It's not so much about the word mindset, it's about how our minds can take over our lives. It's how we can use our minds as tools to help us improve and better our lives. So mindset is not about pretending. It's not about pretending everything's okay. And it's not about being positive all of the time. You know, you're gonna have your low days, you're gonna have your down days. It's about learning to accept those days. It's part of the journey, you know. Process it, learn what you need to learn from it, and move forward. For me, mindset meant allowing myself, first and foremost, to rest without feeling guilt. Now, I promise you now, that is so much easier said than done. Because as an outsider, you're going to think, yeah, well, you're ill, you've just been through surgery, you've just been through, you know, a traumatic experience. You need rest. Your mind's not telling you that. Now, I've had open heart surgery. I had open heart surgery on the day I was born. So the first 6 months of my life, I can't tell you about, if you know what I mean. Like, it's not experience that I can speak of. My second open heart surgery, I was 21 years old. Going from having a heart attack to undergoing surgery to coming round. 6 weeks later, 6 weeks, let's say 6 to 8 weeks later, yeah, after open heart surgery, I was laying slabs, yeah, I was ready to go, I was up, raring, hungry again, you know. The feeling in my ribs was weird, and still, what we're talking, 14 years later, I still get a weird feeling in my ribs click, so, but that's just down to how they put me back together. But my point is, after my surgery, I took my rest. I took what I was allowed of my rest, without going into detail, but within the matter of a couple of months, I was ready and raring to go. Cancer now is a whole different ball game. You have to learn to understand how to rest. And you thinking resting or just staying in bed all day, for instance, on one Sunday afternoon, that's resting. It's not resting. Trust me. So yeah, allowing yourself, or allowing myself, to rest without feeling guilt for it, without feeling like I've got to get up and go and work, without getting up and I've got to do something, even if it's just my housework, you know. My body needs that rest, it's getting that rest. So that took time and understanding. Second of all, learning how to trust my body again. Now that's more, again, in the mind. Learning, it's not so much, yeah, learning how to trust my body again, because being on medication for so long, we're talking, what, 2 years on chemotherapy, 3 years on steroid treatment, it takes its toll on your body. You start to depend on it, you start to worry if you don't take it, you know. So that alone is part of letting go, letting your body start adjusting itself on its own merit. For me, letting my remaining adrenal gland start working again, but also feeling that tiredness, that fatigue, that drained feeling constantly. Do I go back on the tablets and rely on it, or do I persevere? You know, and I persevered and got through it. And then finally, finding purpose after survival. This was difficult for me. I tried to start working on cars again after coming off treatment, after my body felt relatively recovered. And I fast realised that it's not for me anymore. I can't do it, my mind's not with it, you know. Although the knowledge is there for the cars and, you know, the tools, and the tools are there. Tools are still sitting in my shed now, but I can't do anything with it. I can't physically do anything with it. It's crazy. I've got the qualifications, I've got the tools, I've got the experience, but life's changed in a way where, as much as I'm able-bodied to a degree, that physically demanding job, can't do it anymore. So I've had to let that go and find purpose in another way. For me, luckily, I feel like I had a calling. I feel like there's a reason why I've been through so many different things in life, and not just medically, but there's certain experiences that I feel have pointed me into this sort of direction where life coaching, mentoring, helping people, you know, there's a massive calling for me for it, and the only thing I can do is try, you know. So here I am, here's the channel, and hopefully I'm helping you. So with all of that, in a nutshell, I'm gonna say support matters. The support here through the channel, the support from your family, support from friends, close ones, you know, support from groups, from, you know, medical support, from your consultants, you know, nursing staff, that sort of thing. So, but for me, fundamentally, this is why this channel exists. This was why my calling was to be of support. So, if this is your first time watching this channel, first of all, hi, my name is Callum. Since surviving adrenal cancer myself, I've become certified as a professional life coach, in mentoring, as a health and wellness coach, and my focus or my aim is to support others who have been through illness, through major surgeries, you know, especially those navigating their way post-cancer treatment, you know, who are unsure where life's taking them next. So I also offer one-to-one support for those who need guidance, who need understanding, or just need a space to be heard, you know, and within that space, you're well within your right, or you're well, more than welcome, sorry, to scream, to shout, you know, to holler, get off your chest what you need to get off your chest, what can't be done at home, what can't be done around loved ones, around the kids, around, you know, family members. So it's hard to be heard, it's hard to be understood. So I just want you to know, just because adrenal cancer is rare, it does not mean that you are alone. There is support for you. And what I want people to know is that if you're facing adrenal cancer or living after it, it does not mean that your experience is rare as well, as in its emotional weight. Your fear is valid, your confusion is valid, you know. You don't need to keep justifying yourself or even explaining yourself, although I find that you will be. Just know and understand for yourself that your confusion and your misunderstanding, it makes sense, you know. It's a lot to take in, it's a lot to take on. So your recovery, it may look different to what you normally see, but that's because adrenal cancer is different. The lack of awareness does not affect the seriousness of what you've been through, you know. It is serious, but you will get through it. We're getting there, guys, we're getting there. I just want to say, in closing, if you're watching this in the middle of uncertainty, then please hear this. Your fear is valid, your exhaustion is real, and your life still has meaning, even now with what you're going through. There's purpose at the end of it, you know. It's just a stepping stone, although it feels like a mountain, but it's just a stepping stone in your journey of life. You will get through it, you know, and you will make something of yourself on the other side of this journey. So, if this video helps you feel a little less alone, consider subscribing or leaving a comment. Sometimes the most powerful thing that we can do is remind each other that survival is possible. I'm glad you're here. Let's help one another get through this together. Thank you for watching, and thank you for being here.